All right, so this last part, I'm gonna go ahead and do standing up. And I wanna say one thing, that the videos that I put up are only for understanding. And the motivation videos that I've been putting up the last few days, they're designed only to give you an insight. It took me a long time. It took me at least over 10 years to understand what was happening, what I was doing, what it meant. So it's not easy, but I think that if you're a good person, you have good intention, and your heart is in line with your mind in a balanced way, you should be able to do it quite easy. Remember one thing, I started when I was younger by accident. I did it experimenting. And then I started to realize that it was actually something that is part of us already. And I started to explore it. That's when I realized and became aware of something within. Also, I want you to remember that if you can't understand the video, in the description I outline enough detail that will cover the gaps that might be in the video, because I know that long videos and blah 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 usually isn't so conducive for you to actually cognate. So what you need to do is watch the video again. It's important to hear how it's being presented and read the description, and then the description you'll actually be able to get a little bit more detail on what was missing in the video, because I want to make sure that it's always complete, that you always are able to understand in a manner that connects in through your heart and logic in your mind. All right, if you get to a certain point where you begin to look at symbolism, esoteric symbols, you're going to realize one thing, and that is that everything that God made is actually symmetrical and a purpose of balance. So we have what we think is black and white, positive or negative, up or down. And yes, you do. But the design was not exactly that. You have to understand that everything right now is actually balanced, but we don't feel like it is. We could, because we have emotions, we have things that distract us from the truth, and it's done for a purpose, so that you can grow, so you can differentiate yourself from others, differentiate yourself from personalities, characters, so it makes you unique. Just like good and bad are differentiated by duality, but your perception should always be opposite of that thinking, if you can reach the understanding, because you can't really become singular unless you understand what it means. One of the great examples of this, they did a test on a child. They wanted to see what the child was attracted to the most. And so they put different shapes, different things, different faces, and they found that the child was more attracted to things that were more symmetrical. Then they started to show that the mind, as it's developing, actually thinks with its heart. I'm not sure if that's how, if I remember, if I saw that in the video or read it, but your heart, as you're developing your mind when you're a child, remember, the top of your head is more open, and it has a space where the energy is flowing through you to download what you need to know for life, for being in this existence. So what happens is that as the child is growing, it's attracted to symmetrical things because the heart is the one that is the one guiding the rest of the body to form. And this is why a child will be more attracted to something more symmetrical. They showed that a face of a woman, I won't say a beautiful woman or an ugly woman, because all creation has a purpose. What they saw is that the child was more attracted to the more symmetrical face. So that shows that it's the heart that is guiding the mind to manifest, to know, to have that intelligence. So you have to think about that, because that's actually a huge key to this path, to your understanding of a child. Shows that your mind, when it's not aware of itself, the heart draws you towards beauty, towards things that are part of creation, that resonate with creation. What does that say? Everybody, a lot of people actually said, oh, God doesn't care about good or bad. He's just energy. He's just consciousness. He doesn't care. No, that's wrong. And we can prove it in many different ways. I can. And one of them is, if you've heard of all of the turmoil that's going on right now with Pizzagate and other pedophilia people that they've been catching, you think that, oh, they just like kids. No. What it is, it's either that they have an entity in them that makes them do it, or they've been corrupted from a childhood experience, or they know what they're doing and they're using it, because the only way to reach this energy is through a child. And that's evil, and it has been stopped. But I'll tell you, that's the way it was understood. That's the way they were manifesting their wicked ways into this reality, using a pure soul, spirit, energy to purify themselves in order for them to be able to manifest. Okay, so you got to ask yourself, is God good? Just analyze how a child develops. The in, the out, the wisdom of a child, they don't know what beauty is. So why are they attracted to these symmetrical or beautiful, what we perceive as beautiful faces? So think about that, because that's pretty interesting if you understand it in a spiritual way. So that only says that the pure mind is in the heart, because that's what's guiding everything. The development of a child's mind comes from the heart. So think about that. That's a huge understanding. You have to remember that balance is the pure spirit within. So you have to understand that. Balance is divine will. What does that all mean? It means that balance is God. So when you understand that, balance is the essence of pure spirit. And when you know balance, the true meaning of balance of the spirit, you know it and you feel it, you'll begin to see the changes before you. You'll begin to feel that magic. It's called magic because it's been corrupted, but it's just the Spirit of God. He says, not through might, not through power, but through my Spirit. If you understand balance It shows that you are good, because a corrupted person will never understand that. It's hard for you to understand that you are good if you do not understand what balance is, which is yourself, knowing yourself, and knowing thyself. That is balance. Also, you knowing that there is a divine creator and you venerate his existence. That is balance. When you're absolutely sure of that, you are balanced. So, what's missing here? How can I reach this level? Your first step is to believe in something. Believe so that it flows, it begins to flow through you, and you seek the understanding of what that is that's flowing through you, because believing stirs something inside of you that begins to ask questions. And once you reach that point, you begin to ask. All the steps that I've listed before is part of knowing thyself, where you seek, you knock, you ask. All of those are part of knowing thyself, because the understanding will bring the knowing into being, and that is the key. And then you'll reach the true balance. And one of the things that is important is that you cannot buy books, you cannot be taught how to do things. You have to show your worth. If you want enlightenment, a true enlightenment, you have to do it yourself. It's easy if you're good. It's easy if you know yourself. And I've given a lot of hints on how to manifest without knowing anything or understanding anything. It's simple. Just be good. Be authentic, genuine of what you want to achieve, your intent, and it's all going to happen by itself. That's all. That's all you need to know and do, especially now that the energy and the wisdom has become manifested. There's not much more to do except to be good. I'll say this: to be good, you have to have no necessity to be bad. Bad is not bad for everyone, because sometimes you need things, you have a necessity, you will do things that are considered bad, but it's because you don't know an alternative way to fill that necessity in life. So you choose a different pathway. And I would say that it's not your fault until you really have a true choice to say, I could do this, but I'm going to do that. So once you're aware of this understanding, you will realize you've always been balanced. It is just that you've been tricked into believing that you are not. And remember, you are so powerful that you manifest your own demise. And this is why you're here and you're listening to these words, because with these words, you will become free in spirit. I want to explain something about worthiness. What is worthiness? Worthiness is your true intention to be good. And sometimes it's hard to be good, but if you have that true intention to always want to be good, through your heart, things will begin to manifest, because your heart is there to guide you, and it'll show you a different path. That's why worthiness through the heart is another quick way of you beginning to understand how to improve everything about you. Your knowing yourself will now become easy. You'll be able to say, I really tired of this. I really want to be good. I want to help. I want to be productive in a way that I grow spiritually. I improve my life physically, exercise. All of these things that I listed before are important, that you really do everything at 100%. When you show this, your heart will know. Your heart is another part of your consciousness. And that's the one that is very pure and cannot be corrupted. So once you are able to show this, your intent in this manner, your heart will begin to guide you in a different way. If you can't achieve this, you will be able to achieve this. You actually don't have to be intelligent to be good, and you don't have to be intelligent to be enlightened. It's easy. Be good. And now the opportunity is going to be much easier, because abundance has been manifested. It's never been this easy for you to be enlightened through this understanding. Now allows you to connect to your heart and get the knowledge that is missing, the understanding of how to access the other 4 parts of the motivation videos that I've made. I'm going to cover a lot of topics, so that if you already started down a certain path and you went this way or that way, you're going to be able to redirect and understand exactly how to connect to the very simple way of knowing yourself and knowing thyself, to achieve a true balance. So once you complete the 4 and the 4, above and below, inner, outer, however you understand those 4 elements, once you reach them in a way that it's complete understanding and consistency, the 5th one, there's a 5th, and that's through spirit. That 5th one is the true 5th dimension that everybody talks about, the vibration of the 5th dimension. So once your consciousness can tune the 5th dimension, or the 5th element begins to vibrate, everything in your life, in your consciousness, now becomes exactly what it is that you want. That is the real 5th dimension. 5 is all it takes to have heaven on earth. Think of 5 as completion. Within all is God, and God is all within. Remember that wisdom is very simple. Take all of the knowledge that you have attained and condense it. Remove everything that is not needed. And what do you have? Symmetry is divine. All the inner is also the outer. I hope that you find these understandings and connect to your heart, because everything now is in there. I didn't want to make anything that would confuse you anymore, and give you my wisdom of understanding. And this is my final video of giving you everything that you need. Everything else that I put forth into video will just be the understandings of the other ways, other paths that lead right back to this wisdom of understanding that I have given you. Knowing this, you are blessed, and there's nothing more than understanding this.